All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. And I have Q, Mr. Research, on with us. All right, everybody. Hold on one second. Live again, Dynasty Mirror. And I have Q, Mr. Research, on with us today, this evening. And Shirley Husar will be coming on here shortly as well. She's running behind. But today's topic, Q, and I respect the opinion of conservatives like yourself because you're very balanced. You don't tap dance like a lot of these other conservatives. But the topic today is Donald Trump a necessary evil for the success of Black people? Now, a lot of people will disagree, obviously, Q, especially on the left. I'm hearing people say that Black people who are voting Republican are voting for white supremacy. I'm trying to think what else I'm hearing. I guess there are several unapologetic white supremacists who are running for, I would say, seats, positions, districts, or whatnot under the Republican ticket. Again, it's just this whole idea that if you are a Republican, a Black Republican, you are voting for Black. You're a part of Team White Supremacy. What are your thoughts on that, Q? Those statements?
Man, first of all, let me give you my prerequisite. As I tell people all the time, I have been a conservative since '86. Pretty much a lot of historical understanding on how the country works. So I'm going to answer your question by saying this, and I'm only going to talk the Black solution side because I think it's important for Black people to hear a Black conservative that has Black first talking points and not white first talking points. So here's the answer to your question. Most of the people who you see Black talk Republican are talking for the sake of some type of financial gain. They talking for the sake of some financial gain, because most people who talk for a Republican as a Black person don't even have any historical knowledge. Like when I myself question people, they don't even know on what they're standing. They're using talking points that they heard or somebody told them. So most conservative people want to be family first. Most conservative people want to keep stuff here, not have stuff like NAFTA. All that stuff is valid. Have your guns. All that stuff is valid. But where it starts getting stupid is when you don't know why you're saying that. And I say, okay, so are you a gun owner? So why are you all up in arms about guns and what have you? I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you can't articulate, then that's a problem. Here's where the Black solution comes into play for me. Black folks have to realize that, yes, there are a lot of white people signing on to Republicans because Republicans have a skin code and they make their skin code blatant. But they make room for other people who want to make money, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And people who want to make money, they invite them as part of the skin code as long as you put the white skin code first. Why I'm a conservative is simply for the fact of I saw this country before Reagan messed it up. I saw this country really unions and Black people were doing well. There was Black businesses everywhere. And Reagan kind of screwed that up. And then when Clinton came around, and my favorite president, 41, tried to make it better. He undid a lot of stuff that Reagan did because, little known fact, they never liked each other. And Clinton came along and made it worse with NAFTA by sending stuff overseas. We never had that. We had strong unions. We had guys pulling each other into companies. And that's how that was. So I say all that to say this. The Black solution is Black folks have to get to a point where even if Trump is here, now you need to go to your black Republicans and say, "Give me your black people first message." And if they don't give you a black people first message, shame them, make videos about them, the whole nine. You need to go to the black people who are elected Republicans. Say the same thing. Give me your black people first message on camera, on TV, on video. You need to go over to these Democrats and say, "Hey, look, check this out. I need to hear what your black people first message is. I need to hear you talk about black men, EEOC, and I need to hear that right now while I got this cell phone in your face." That's what black people as a solution have to do for both sides, not run around here hating each other and hating what you don't hear or hating what you don't understand. Get off the couch, put a cell phone in some of these people's faces, and ask them to give you a black people first speech right here, right now, and go post it on YouTube.
Now, and a lot. Hey, everybody, Miss Shirley Husar is on the
Hey
on the.
guys.
Thank you for joining us. The topic is Donald. The topic is Donald Trump a necessary evil for the success of Black people? If you want to go ahead and chime in, Shirley, you're more than welcome.
For those who may not know me, my name is Shirley Husar. I am the CEO of Urban Game Changers. And Urban Game Changers is an organization I started, and our job and what we're doing is we go into urban communities, we hold elected officials accountable, as well as ourselves. I was the 2016 surrogate and delegate for Donald J. Trump candidate at the time, and he is now our president. So there's an accountability that still has to hold merit in any candidate that becomes an elected official. Where we fail as constituents is that we don't hold them accountable. Where we fail as Black people, we expect them to create an agenda for us when we should be going with them with our agenda. Every state, every city has different issues. In California, our number one priority is illegal immigration and chain migration, which has been devastating. And as you know, it's a genocide issue in California. In other states, it could be that. It could be other things as far as crime. It also could be MS-13. It could also be homelessness. There's different things, mass incarceration, targeting, privatized prison need to meet their quota, so they're targeting our young Black men. These are issues that are concerns within the Black community. So our job as individuals, we're all the media now. There's no key media person that controls the narrative. So understand the power of this phone that you carry, the power of that mouth that you hold, and that knowledge that you obtain and you put in your head will change and amplify your life to the next degree. In most cases, African American people have always been the stepped on, walked on, used on people in this country. And we know that, and we've endured that. The challenge that we have currently right now is that we have parties, Republican Party, Democrat Party, Libertarian Party, however party you want to call it, and we expect them to fix us. My proposal is this. With Urban Game Changers, you go into the urban communities, you hold elected officials accountable, you find out by your local leaders who and what is going on. And that leader is you. That is you taking notes, saying this is what's going on, what's going to be done, and how can we come as a decisive unit, as one unit to go before the proposal leader. Look, Donald Trump is not, it's a necessary evil because he's not, I don't look at it as the evil. I look at it as our failure for allowing these people to do what they do to us. Black people have to realize that there's local, state, and federal. And if you don't hold elected officials, local elected officials accountable, it doesn't matter who's president of the United States. You don't know who your senator is. You don't know who your congressional leaders are. You don't know who your assemblyman is, your water boards, your school board. Why don't you know these people? Why don't you have them in your Rolodex? Why aren't you scheduling meetings to say, hey, my grandma lives in the community and the streets are terrible, but on the other side, you guys are dealing with the tree lines and the cracks in the ground. We have crime late at night. Why don't we have police surveillance come and communicate to our community versus stalking our community and making us feel like we're victims or we're animals to be predated upon? These are things that we have to hold elected officials accountable, And I'm going to ride on Q when he said that we need to go to these politicians and these parties. If you're going to be a Republican like I am, I hold the Republican Party accountable. And we're talking with the other conservatives about things that they are not doing for Black people. And we can't expect them to do anything if we don't tell them. They're not going to sit back and put an agenda for us because they don't even care to know us. But if we go to them with a proposed plan of action, then we want it executed. And I think that is what's going to change our people.
Now, Shirley, what about this? I would say criticism in regards to, the Black Republicans. It's a bad echo. Hold on. Hello, hello, hello. What about this criticism that I hear often in regards to Black Republicans? Oh, you're supporting the party of white supremacists. Look at this white supremacist who's running on the Republican ticket here in Illinois. Look at this white supremacist who's running on the Republican ticket, I think, in San Diego. What is your response to statements like that?
We've been here for 400 years. I'm not going to give them any power that they've already taken and that they already own. We're not owning any power. We're continually saying, that I don't want to be part of that. Well, you have no proposed idea either. You have no plan of action. You have no party. And people say, we need to create our own party. No, we need to make them feel uncomfortable and filtrate within their own camps and let them know that we are here. We're not immigrants. We're not illegal immigrants. We came here as commodity, and you continue to utilize us as that. And that is not what America is about. If you guys claim that you want us here and we were able to be utilized for that, that needs to be changed. So I don't think that we should approach this in the sense of white supremacists or them. I think we need to approach this as a point of we deserve this seat at the table. We have earned our right through our ancestors to the seat at this table, and doggone it, we should utilize it.
Here's my reply to anybody who says those types of things. You know what? You're right. The people you see do operate like that. The people who when you turn on your TV last 2 months ago and you saw somebody who falls in that category, yes. But like Shirley and I are really uncommon for conservatives that you see. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of cats like this. There's a lot of white dudes like this, who are like balanced. The problem is that a lot of times the people we see on camera and see on TV are the people who fit that stereotype. And I'm not going to knock that. Here's my solution for that. Kind of like what Shirley said. For those people who don't like that, then you need to create such a powerful presence on the opposite side. It's your job. If you think these people or I are doing XYZ for white folks, then what I want you to do is use that same energy that you type with your keyboard and create such a powerful movement within the party that you deal with and force them to get your Black stuff done. Let me just say this. Black men and the EEOC. Black men and the EEOC. That lets me know Democrats are not serious. Democrats are not serious because that has not gotten fixed yet. Black men have the highest report to the EEOC. The EEOC is the one who ensures and makes sure companies do right when they hire. They make sure companies are fair. And when somebody feels like they were discriminated in the hiring process or the employment process, they go to the EEOC, and the EEOC uses government money to go investigate that company. Hey, pull your records because you got a complaint, and we want to see what was the variables you used to not give this person a job. I tell dudes all the time, go ahead and file go ahead and file the EEOC just on GP. Because what happens is it forces that HR department to get in line. Because if the EEOC say, yeah, we found evidence and you can go sue them and we'll use that evidence to back it up. That's the purpose of the EEOC. But if Democrats would put more money into the EEOC, if Democrats would fight for more money in the EEOC, then when black men go and make these complaints, then there'll be enough representatives, because it's understaffed, EEOC. Then there'll be enough representative to follow through on many of these black male cases. You guys kind of don't hear about a lot of things the EEOC has done for black men. There's been companies that have gotten $1 million lawsuits against them because the EEOC went in for black men and found out, oh, you discriminated because he was a guy, or you discriminated because he was the only black applicant, but you didn't let him through, and you said because he didn't interview well. Okay, give us notes on your interview well. You don't have notes? Okay, that's a problem. So things like that. So we just really gotta understand what these solutions are when we're name calling, finger pointing, or saying things we don't like. Hold people accountable with your cell phone.
And Shirley, let me ask you this question, and then Q, you can answer as well. Shout out to Adana Wali, BAIO. This is a great question because this is my way of thinking. I got love of these guests, but they are tripping. We need our own party. F being part of the ones that exist. The parties that exist the parties that exist are all under white supremacy principles. What about?
Hold on, Dinus. Before you say something, let me say to that brother,
go ahead.
Do like Shirley did, create your website, create your movement so we can join right now. Stop talking.
Well, hold on. I gotta stop you. It's there. So he's not.
No. I'm talking about that guy. What is the name of his movement?
BAIO.
BAIO is a political movement.
That is an echo in the background. BAIO. I could direct you to. In fact, I'll put the link of the site to the.
Okay.
And you can check it out.
Okay, no problem. And you know what? I'm gonna join this movement because if it's not a political,
you actually join. Please join it. Join it. Please.
No. It's because if it's not a political movement, if it's just about getting money, that's going to be a problem.
No. Absolutely not. I'm in full support of. I'm FAQ. I'm actually a member of the BIO. So I put the link in the chat. Go, please join it. Please join it. Shirley, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm listening. I'm waiting to answer your question. I'm waiting.
Okay, well, go ahead and answer. Go ahead and answer.
It takes money and numbers to run this country. I'm looking up notes and talking to you at the same time. It takes money and numbers to run this country.
Hey, let me say this. I don't think you guys are tripping, but I'm a lot of people are just like fed up with both parties. We need to have our own party.
I understand. I'm going to answer your question.
Go ahead.
It takes money and numbers to run this country. Money and numbers, and they use us as commodity. Commodity meaning they take the numbers that we bring to the table, if it's through mass incarceration or however we're being used in different facets, to make their quota. They use the poorest of the poor people. That's why black people, I told you before on the last show, the mindset of black people was not as poor as illegal immigrants or chain migration, because where they came from is worse than here. So they don't mind sleeping 7 or 8 or 4 or 5 families in one house. So the Democrat Party, what they have continued to do is cipher off the mindset of, well, these people are poor, they'll work for less, we can use them more. So that comes down to money and numbers. The Republican Party and the Democrat Party have millions, if not billions of dollars that are filtrated every year, every month, every hour into its party. It is an established party that is part of the infrastructure of America. It's part of the establishment of the infrastructure of America. So now you want me to leave the infrastructure and to create our own party, like the Green Party and the Independent Party, who are powerless because they don't have money. Money and power go hand in hand. And if you think the poor black people are going to join a black organization that needs money to move our cause forward, we're going to be minute in that. I'm not intimidated by white people. I'm not intimidated by the Republican Party. They're not going to push me out. I'd rather be that gnat in the room that you go, oh my God, what does she want? What do we need to do? How do we have to deal with this? But because we're not annoyance to the issue of our people, ran by people who have ran this country almost since conception, we fail. We continue to want to isolate ourselves. When it comes to parties, you cannot do that. it doesn't move our cause forward. We have to get in the fight for where it is at this time. If at the time we were in the past, if we could have done that, it'd been great. But we're in a fight presently right now for preservation. We're on the verge of genocide. And right now you have a president who is a Republican, and I need to see more Black people become Republicans so that we can be annoying to the Republican Party with an agenda saying these are the things that we want to do. To create another party takes money. It takes money and it takes numbers. And the way people vote is by name recognition. People vote on power recognition. People vote on what they feel comfortable with. Now you're trying to bring a generation of people to do something totally different. In the meantime, we are losing time and we are losing ground. If this administration is saying, we're interested to know what you guys want to do to make a difference, we need to bring the proposal to the table. Stop asking them to do, what are you guys going to do for us? What does that really mean? I don't know. Mom, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to cook for me? Well, what do you want? A child says what they want. An adult says what they want. If a man wants a woman, baby, I want you tonight. They know what they want. You need to know what you want instead of saying, well, baby, do you want to have sex? I'm not really sure. I'm kind of guessing. No, that nigga will go say, baby, what can we throw down tonight? I know exactly what I'm going to do to you. You need to know what you want. So that's the problem. Don't propose to these parties things of saying, hey, you know, what you gonna give us? What you gonna get? We have this imposed, impoverished policies and programs in our head because we've done it for so long. We expect these governmental systems and programs to subsidize systems to keep our entities, our cultures moving forward. From this day forward, I want to see us be what Frederick Douglass talked about. I want to see us be what Sojourner Truth talked about. I want to see us be what Du Bois talked about. I want us to be an entity where we're able to fund and feed ourselves and do it again. And even if they try to do another Black Wall Street to us, do it again. Do it to the point they say, we're going to leave those people alone because you leave the Chinese alone, you leave the Armenians alone, hell, you leave the illegal immigrants alone in California, and you let them cook and scratch and sell whatever the hell they want on the street unregulated. But yet when a Black man tries to do that, we can't do that. That takes principal parties and legislation, and that takes parties that are having the power. We do not have the power at this time. And even if we acquire it a year or 2 years down the road, that's too late. We need to infiltrate their camp. Don't you guys know war? War is about infiltrating a camp. And we need to infiltrate until their camp, until we get a solid ground. And then maybe in the future, we can break off and create something different. But as of now, I'm not leaving the Republican Party. I'm standing behind a party that said that they stand for less government and more empowerment to the people. Well, what about my people? But there's not enough people like me that have a hunger to want to see a change. Y'all all stuck up in white supremacists. What the hell's wrong with you Negroes? Don't you know you live in a white country? This country was built on conquistadors. This country was built on people who basically used you as commodity to build it. Now you need to flip the coin and say, dog, you owe me something right here, right here, right here. Not them foreigners, not them illegals, up here, right here. This sister right here, this Coco sister right here. You owe me something. And I ain't gonna back away from a fight and sit back and say, no, it's cool. We're gonna just start our own. We're gonna do what we want to do. No, I'm all in your face, in your cookie jar, and under your weave. I got you, boo. What you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. A, B, C, D. That's how I feel on the matter.
And Shirley's saying the same thing that I think you guys are stating what your situation is. And she's saying it in a way of harass what's already there. Now, I don't say that there's anything wrong with creating your own situation, but just like somebody in the chat room, and I'm going through the chat room trying to answer questions. Somebody in the chat room says, where do we get our funding? See, that's the problem. You should be already researching how to get that funding. You should already be knowing about the funding. The other way of asking it is, how you get your funding from a conspiracy point of view. Come on, which one are you trying to do? To Cheryl's point, are you trying to get in here and cause some change for your children? Or are you trying to cause some change for yourself so you can just say, see, there you go. And as far as Mr. Adano Ali says, what have Republicans done for the party? I mean, for Black people? you know, it is a thing I always say. What specifically do you want to hear that they've done for Black people? I can be specific about things, but I'll bring up something like fighting against Clinton for these private jails that Clinton caused, for fighting against him. But you might not think that's enough validation for something for Black people. And like I also came on the show and said something Obama did for Black people, Black men specifically with child support, and it was stopped by Paul Ryan. But again, you might not think that's nothing for Black people, simply because you don't understand the dynamics of things that are happening behind the scene. And I think me and Shirley, or Shirley and I, always get the want Black people to understand it is a black us against everybody mentality. It is a get out and make something happen mentality. Go find out how funding is raised. Go find out this, that, and the third, rather than sit in the chat room and just kind of be disgruntled at things that you never heard before. Just be a little bit more peaceful in understanding what's being said and why it's being said.
Guys, let's get the likes up. We have 168 people watching, only 63 likes. Stop being stingy with these likes. And shout out to Inoret, aka Bell Bagay, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. What about this idea of and Q, you kind of hinted to it. So what is the Republican? Can we really unpackage what is the Republican Party doing for Black people? Because obviously, when you call out Black politicians, every Black person has every excuse on why they ain't got to do nothing for Black people. And then their excuse is, well, the Republicans ain't doing nothing for Black people. So, I mean, is there anything? Can we unpackage what the Republican Party is doing for Black people? Because I will say this: if you listen to Donald Trump, he's actually has extended his hand and has opened the door to speak to Black people. But you haven't heard anything from the Democratic Party in regards to opening the door and sitting at the table and just speaking on Black issues, specifically Black issues. But go ahead.
I'm going to jump in before you go to Q. I always say, what are Black people doing for Black people? We expect parties. Again, we're looking for people to fix us, when I think that we need to fix each other. I think that having shows that what Dynas and Q and I and all of us who are out here on the front line are trying to do to bring us a state of awareness, to be awake or awoke or whatever is walk away, whatever is popular at this time. I think there's many of us who've been trying to get a message across. I look at it as the Black people are a big generator that needs to be turned on. And whenever you turn on a generator, it don't take one switch, it takes several switches. So by us having these conversations versus attacking each other and criticizing each other and calling each other coons and saying you support the white supremacists, I think that we need to say, what do we do to help each other financially, emotionally, and spiritually? And I think if we knew that, then we can go to these proposed parties and say, look, this is what we need. These parties ain't going to do nothing for you because they don't have to. The Republican or Democrat, let me make this clear. Neither one, the Green Party, Libertarian Party, because they don't have to. What makes a difference when it comes to the Latino coalition, and I did that video on YouTube, y'all look up the Latino coalition, is they went to the man of power with a proposed concept and idea saying, look, our people bring in X amount of money. Black people bring in millions of dollars a year, millions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a year. Let me change that to billions of dollars a year. And we don't leverage and come together and write our numbers down. The number of us that have been here, our years of worth, the Constitution and the amendments that were written in our best interests, the civil rights that were written in our best interests, and the financial worth of what we bring every billions of dollars a year to this country. I think it's self-awareness to understand self-preservation. And once you do that, then you go to both parties and say, here's our platform, here's our agenda, what are you going to do? Because they're not used to you telling them what you want. All you keep saying is what we want, and we're going to go out and start our own. These parties are worth over hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, under the table. They have PACs. Those are political action packs where they're able to gather money from old money. Old money is people who have been in this country. The Vanderbilts, there's a lot of old money of people, the Rockefellers. These are old money people who have been part of some of these establishments. J.P. Morgan, old money people, the men that built America. Look that up. And as far as Donald Trump, if you go to Urban Game Changers right now and you go to the top, there's the toolbar that says the urban renewal agenda. That has to do with jobs, education, and security. That was in 2016 that Mr. Trump proposed that to a people in North Carolina that he wants to do in the Black communities. He had a plethora of ideas to bring change. But the Congressional Black Caucus, the ACLU, and the NAACP said, all we want you is a peach. Well, that was not in our best interest. So unless we can come together, stop beating each other up, and filtrate in both parties. I say do both parties. I'm not going to be paying with them Democrats. They have took me down the rabbit hole long enough. If I were you, I've been a Democrat. I've been a Republican all my life, but I've seen how they have played to like you and then say, I got a hot sauce in my purse and have you dancing on stage doing a jig. But on the other hand, they don't want to put any legislation in place for your protection or for your rights. But they're going to push the gay agenda. They're going to push chain migration and illegal immigrant issues. And we have yet to propose to this table something that we bring. And that's what's important.
You know what? I'll say this. What have they done is the question. Neither party has done much because the Black first mentality has not been to the forefront as it should be. Irregardless of whether people watching this show agree or disagree with what Shirley and I are saying, you see us being consistent in a Black first message. Okay. And when other people talk, they are not necessarily in a Black first message. So when you say, okay, what have this party done? You know, I remember Eisenhower when he kicked out, well, this is me reading, I'm not that old, but when he kicked out all the immigrants, kicked out the Jews, he kicked out the Italians. California had a law, no Chinese people could own property. All these things went to the benefit of Black people. Oh, but it was a Republican who did that. So, you know, Republicans mess up, Republicans do well, Democrats mess up, Democrats do well, libertarians, so on and so forth. The point that Shirley made is true. What are we going to do with a Black first message in either party or a party you create your own? If we create our own party, and I'm very serious about this, you must go and take that party, if you're very serious, and address every city council in every major city, not minor city, every major city. Down there in Atlanta, the BAIO should be down at Atlanta City Council with their cell phones. The BAIO should be hiring people from Georgia Tech and Georgia State who want to make a little money, because you got to pay them, just like Shirley said, and go down there and shove the cell phone in the face for BAIO. And I'm giving you free advice to confront anybody who comes out of that city hall. Hey, what did you do on proposition so on and so forth? What did you do as treasurer? What did you do blah blah blah? See, that lets you know whether you're serious as a movement to cause change locally. This is why the whole Trump thing really isn't a major factor, because Black folks got to change that city council and that county, because those are the people who are robbing you for taxes.
Okay,
let me ask another.
If I could jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
So why are Black people so focused on Trump and not putting that same energy towards these politicians who are just screwing them over?
Because it's easier. And we go off what's on the TV. Like I said, it's easier. If I can be a Black conservative and go and put my face out to the TV and talk about black folks 24/7, my pockets would increase overnight.
I want to add
Because
something to
that's
Q.
Go ahead.
Allow me to cut you off, Q. I also want to say, he says it's easier. I agree. I also say if you know better, you do better. And the problem with many of you guys, you don't know no better. All you know is who the president is and who the vice president is. You don't know who your elected officials are, meaning your water board, your school board, your senator, your assemblyman. You don't even know their names. You don't even know what district you live in. You don't even know what parish you live in. You have no clue. But yet you're going to talk about, I'm going to create a black party. You don't even understand the principal operational systems to run parties or how parties are utilized to empower people. Go ahead, Q.
And look, we're not trying to be mean. We're trying to we're trying to give you guys the hard facts of people who actually go to these events, talk to these people on a regular basis. You have to be very astute with your local region. You have to be. Dinus, the last governor, I think it was Purdue, over in Georgia, just before I left. He was supposed to tear down that toll booth, right? The toll booth made its money. The toll booth made its money 2 governors ago.
Okay, you talking about the one off of 400?
Yeah, the toll booth made its money.
It's gone.
Two governors. No, but just listen to me.
Go ahead.
It made its money 2 governors ago. That was 4 years ago. It did its purpose. Let me ask you a question, Dinus. Here, live on TV.
Go ahead.
You probably didn't know this. Why did that toll booth continue to collect revenue?
Why did it?
Yep.
Because it's making a revenue. Why not?
That isn't what its purpose was. Its purpose was to be there for a limited time, and at the end of that limited time, it was supposed to be torn down. Now, here's my next question for the black community in Atlanta. All that extra revenue, because that toll booth was built with tax dollars, all that extra revenue, all those millions for the 4 years, where did it go?
Where did money go?
Nobody knows. This goes to Shirley point. Nobody knows. And you got a bunch of black people dominating in Atlanta. And to Shirley's point, nobody knew it was supposed to be there for a limited time. No, I knew, because I was sitting up there championing stuff when I was in Atlanta. Nobody knew it should have been torn down. And for all that money that was collected, where did it go? I'm going to tell you where it went, because I already got the answer. Lieutenant Governor Cagle, or whatever his name is.
Right.
He put it all on the stock market and reaped the benefits. No black person said nothing in Atlanta. You think I'm lying? Go pull up his name and pull up the discussion he had about putting the tax money on the stock market. And this is Shirley's point. Black folks, before you start talking about you don't like Republicans, you don't like Democrats, start your own party, pay attention to what's pimping and happening with you locally, and that lets us know how serious you are.
Yep.
Wow, that was powerful. Everyone, again, thank you for joining us. We have a great panel. We have 200 people watching, only 97 likes. Please hit that like button. Please share. Again, this is a powerful panel that we have on here tonight. So, guys, please support and hit the like button and please share. So, what about this? Again, neither party is going to work for our best interest. I mean, that's all I keep hearing. I know we keep addressing it, but that's all we keep hearing. But what about this? Hey, we black people shouldn't vote at all and shouldn't participate in the system at all. What are your thoughts on that?
How do you get solutions by not participating in the system? What do you plan on getting out of that? Because see, that's a Maxine Waters, that's a Democrat ideology of don't do nothing, nigga. Nigga, don't do nothing. Girl, you ain't got to do nothing out here. Don't you do nothing. Don't do nothing. Just sit back, smile, and grin and get your check. Well, what does that mean when the Indian people come here and they live in luxury lifestyles? What does that mean when Latin community people come to our country and they are able to benefit and reap off of the civil rights movement that we are not able to do, and by saying don't vote and don't be engaged. See, by you doing that, by being complacent, by you doing that, they're able to run amok. Just like Q said, look how he was able to take that money and put it on the stock market because nobody hold him accountable. That's why I created Urban Game Changers. You have to hold your elected officials accountable. But listen what Q said. I totally agree. Whose fault was it that that money still kept coming in and we didn't know where that money was utilized and where it went to? It was our fault. Shame on you. Shame on you, Black people, to ask such a question, to think, well, why should we vote? Why should we be engaged? Because you got brothers and sisters incarcerated right now. You got families being torn up right now. You got young men and young women who can't even have a father to have holiday dinners with and lunches. All they expect to do is get an angel's Christmas gift. I want more than a Christmas gift. I want that Black man to be able to love his woman, caress his woman, and be home and bring a meal in for his woman. That's what I want. I want to see that Black woman empowered to know that she can be the woman in the house instead of being the woman and the man in the house. We ain't got to have all these people, transgenders, and a woman acting like a man and a man acting like a woman. We need some alpha males who can step up to the table. Now, if you that, then you need to talk to me. If you that is a woman, you comfortable in who you are, you need to step to the front line. Because the people on the back line talking rhetoric about not doing nothing. Y'all stay home and get your welfare check. Go and get your EBT cards. Have fun with that. But I want the people who really want to make change in the Black community. I want people who really want to have a conscious agenda on the table to propose to this administration. Because we live in America and we abide by law and order. Look, Brent has become the new appointee. Kavanaugh is the new appointee for President Trump. What does that mean to us? Q was kind enough to share. We've been going over local. Let's go back to Fed real quick. We now have a new candidate that Trump empowered. He's a conservative. He's law and order. Both parents were attorneys. So he comes from a very strong book, a long line, a solid connections to government as well as policies. We should propose to those Supreme Court judges, look, we need to know what's going on with the RAISE Act. What's going on with this chain migration? When is this illegal immigration empowerment movement going to end? And when are you going to stop manipulating and amending the civil rights movement to bend for everybody else than what it was eventually intended for? We have to identify the power that we have now by creating our own power and saying, what are they going to do? Disavow the power that we already have. I challenge you to learn government. I challenge you to look at the Indian American rights that were given to Indians that they operate under that were actually given to Black people at the same time. For those who are children of the indigenous slave tribe, those children whose children's children who we have become, who have not utilized legislation, laws that are in place to bring to the forefront and instill for a better Black America today. We need to act on what we got now and run with it. It's like good gumbo. You know, you got your roux. Those who know how to make gumbo, call that. You got your roux. You put your vegetables and everything, and you take a little bit of that roux out, and you save it for another time. Take your roux and do something with that. Do something with that.
And you know what? Let me go to that point again, because the question is about voting. Thank you for the Black crabs who try to stop other people from being empowered. Thank you for the Black crabs who are always speaking against unions. Thank you for the Black crabs who are always saying, don't participate, ain't nothing gonna happen. You know who's thanking those Black crabs? Every other group. Soon it's gonna be Latin supremacy in America. Not white supremacy, it's gonna be Latin supremacy. You know why? Because they're voting. They don't have Latin crabs standing up saying ain't nothing gonna happen anyway. Because they're contributing. And let me just let me just say this one thing. So somebody, Charles Irby in the chat room said stock went up on private prisons after Trump got election. So Dinus, here's another example of a person saying something and not researching what has said. Because him saying that, people would think that actually happened. No, in actuality, Clinton and Gore created this private prison mecca. Cheney reinforced it. Obama defunded private prisons. So this little uptick that he's talking about is when Jeff Sessions came around, because Jeff Sessions is pro-private prison. But that's another thing Obama did for black people. He defunded private prisons. But I guess that's not for black people.
And we're gonna get into that, because again, it's the topic is Donald Trump a necessary evil needed for black people to succeed? This whole everything that Obama did for black people, Sessions and Trump, they're reversing. What would be your response to that? We'll start with you, Shirley.
What's the question again?
Everything that everything that Obama did for black people, whether it be prison reform or whatnot, Trump is reversing, or has reversed, him and Jeff Sessions. What will be your response or thoughts on that?
I'm trying to figure out what Obama did do for black people. Everybody act like he did so much. I think that would be my question. I don't think Obama did anything but help the gays and the lesbians and the transgender. I also think Obama helped illegal immigrants and tried to empower them by giving them citizenship until the very end of his presidential term. That was his passion. I don't think we were his passion. Look, all skin folks are not kin folks. Y'all are out there talking about black people, white people. I challenge you to tell me, what kind of Negro are you? What kind of Negro are you to say I'm more black than you? Have you done your DNA? Do you know how black you are? What does black really mean? Because everybody on this chat room who's a child of the indigenous slave tribe have some type of white in them. If they're not all black, they have some type of white in them. So somewhere in your genealogy, you got some swirling going on. For those who wonder about me, I got 88.9% West African in me. So I know what I am. I know I come from third generation. My father had me very late in life. That's why everybody questions how old my father was, because I was one of those oof babies. This man was almost near 50 when he had me. And my grandfather was born, my great-grandfather was born before the emancipation. So I know how African American I am. And I know that most true African Americans have some other thing within them. Now, in saying all that, what kind of black are you? And then what kind of black are you fighting for? Because African blacks have been able to benefit. Indians who claim they're black have been able to benefit, but we're not benefiting from all the things that are given in the civil rights movement. So as far as what has Obama done or what he's undoing, what I see with this administration, things as far as the transgender bathrooms, which I'm happy about. I'm not happy with Jeff Sessions. I said that before. Jeff Sessions not dealing with what this administration was elected upon, was basically stopping illegal immigration. As far as black people, if we know that there's proposed party that the Trump administration is working against us, we need to come as a unit and address that. One or two of us screaming at the front line ain't gonna do it. But we're so busy talking about swirling. Look at her talking, da-da-da. I'm probably more African than you on the other side, Negro. So, hey, the bottom line is, if black people don't recognize the good and bad of both administrations, then we fail ourselves. We have to look at currently what this administration is doing and what it's done and what it plans on doing. Because right now, they ain't going to do anything because we don't have any proposal on the table.
You want to add to that, Q? Q, you there?
You got him on mute, I think.
No. He muted himself. He muted himself.
He probably stepped out away from the table.
He probably stepped away. Let me ask you another question, Ms. Shirley.
Sure.
Black people are very conservative by nature, but they still vote Democrat. Why?
You know, that's always been a fascinating point to me.
They are very Christian, and we're very.
Let's say the church. Let's just go ahead and talk about the ministers. Here you have these church ministers say they love the Lord and they Christian, and then they give the devil the pulpit. I'm gonna call them the devil because the Democrats get in there, they promote abortion, they promote Planned Parenthood. They're not promoting us becoming unified as a family. So there's no family unity being incorporated into our infrastructure. And the conservatives have always talked about God and family. Have you guys noticed under this administration, shout out to Pastor Leon Benjamin, who is a prayer warrior for the president, who's African American. You guys should look this man up. This man had himself, his wife, and his 3 children, and President Trump gave him an opportunity to speak in the White House. He always brings in families. If he brings in someone black or white, he brings in families. You know, let's talk about why we as Black people don't talk about the unity as family. I think we allow these churches and these liberal progressives to have gotten away so long that people think that conservative is an evil word, capitalist is an evil word, opportunity of self-empowerment is an evil word, when it's the total opposite. Because if you had more Black that conserved and more Blacks that worked it as a family and more Blacks that understand the empowerment of money, we would be in a better position than what we are. Because see, the church uses and leverages the people, but they don't have any line when it comes to understanding commodity trades. When we look at how do we create cash flow, but they use the people as cash flow. Capitalism, conservatism comes with a cash flow prosperity mindset. Why do people stay in that mindset? I think because they don't realize that's what the Democrat Party is about. It's more government programs, because you think the programs are going to be the way you start a business. I just want to say one thing. Look, if you decide to start a business, how are you going to do that? You need money. Well, I'm going to give me a small business loan. I'm going to get a nonprofit. You don't even know what a nonprofit does. You don't even know what a nonprofit or for-profit does. But you're so busy talking about each other that you've not sat down and looked at the logistics of how we're going to get to the table with these monies and these numbers. And that's not what the Democrat Party is. And the Democrat Party doesn't want you to be educated to that degree. But neither one of these parties do. It is up to us to burst the doors of these people, stand in their face and say, these are the things that we want. And if we don't get them, we take all of our votes and we go another way until we get the power that we need implemented in the manner that needs to be done.
Okay. And you know what? She's absolutely right on that. And you know, I'm going to give her Urban Game Changers a lot of plug in this piece of speaking to both concerns of both parties. You gotta, to answer the question about us as generally conservative, when you look back historically, we were pro-family. So that answers your question on why we're generally conservative, because there was a period of time that we were pro-family. It wasn't until Ronald Reagan gave the single mother all these loopholes, no-fault divorce, earned income, 1986 Reform Act. He undid what Carter said. Carter said in order to get welfare, you have to be a 2-parent home. Ronald Reagan undid that and said, no, you don't need to be a 2-parent home. So because we got away from that family thinking, we then start more leaning more the other way. So hopefully that answers that question. If I go back to the other thing about just doing anything, because you know what, I have a heart for the chat room. I know the chat room is kind of confused about some of the things they're hearing, but let me just suggest something to the chat room. What if you were to find out that how you are thinking is limited? Not saying you're wrong, just saying you don't have all the information you should.
Good point.
Just like I talked to Dinus a moment about the toll booth on 400.
Right.
He's living there. He didn't know that.
I didn't know. I had
not
no clue.
saying, and I gave him the phrases you can look on Google search to find Lieutenant Governor Cagle making those comments. So here's the problem that a lot of the chat room has. When you guys speak, sometimes you're speaking from a limited understanding as if you know it to be factual. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there's a different part of the picture you're not considering. Charles Irby said the Black Congressional Caucus refusing to meet with Trump. Okay, so here's a perfect part of what BAIO should do, or Urban Game Changers. Find a little college student out there where the Black Congressional Caucus meets. Hey, little college students, we here at BAIO, we have raised some money through our donation, and we're going to give you $200 for the month if you take your cell phone up, stand in front of the building at the Black Congressional Caucus, and film everybody you ask, why are you not going to make demands on Trump? Why are you ignoring a free meeting, a free opportunity to expose Trump as not a down for the black cause? Why are you not doing that right now? That's what the BAIO, that's what Game Changers can do. But you know what we rather do, Dinus? Sit in the chat room, sit on our computers and say the keyword, what we should do. What we should do. So this is what I'm saying. What we should do is get out there, pay somebody out there, little college student that needs $200, and make that happen. But we can't.
Q, I'm gonna jump in real quick.
Hold on. I'm almost finished.
We did that. I'm gonna tell you, we did that. But go ahead, finish your thought, and I can tell you the outcome of that.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying it from a tit for tat point of view. I'm saying for our people in the chat room, take that energy that you guys have as conspiracy theorists and doubters, and say and reach out to BAIO with that particular plan in mind. Say, here's $100. I want you to go to the Black Caucus BAIO, pay somebody and film that. Here, Urban Game Changers, you guys went and did that. Let me get some of that footage so I can put it on my YouTube channel and expose these black congressional people for not putting my demands first. That's my way of answering that.
You have anything else you want to add, Shirley?
I think Q is right on point. I can't even argue with that. I think he's right on point. If we're going to have these organizations, we have to hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. Last year, I put a video together. Please look up this video. It's called Omarosa, Buffoonery of Omarosa. It's on YouTube. I give a breakdown of how Mr. Trump went to the Congressional Black Caucus. She sat there. I don't know why she did this, but she gave the Congressional Black Caucus, the ACLU, and the Urban League an opportunity to meet with the president. They met with the president and they determined that they didn't want to work with him. They didn't like his policies. They didn't like with him. And they just said, we're done. We're going to just basically want to have you impeached. So for the next 4 years, we as a culture of people have to sit back and think that this man we just want him impeached and we don't have any proposed ideas. So a group of Urban Game Changers, we went last year to the Congressional Black Caucus. And we went to the caucus and we started talking to the ministers. If anybody was there, would tell you there was this person that stood up, and it was me, that stood up and said, why aren't you doing something? Why you call yourselves ministers of God? And then they had homosexuals and everything else in there, and they're not talking about the black family, the needs of the black people. All they kept talking about is things about becoming a Democrat. You need to do a Democrat. Forget Democrat. Forget Republican. How about proposed plans, policies, legislation, and lobbyists? See, my heart goes out because Q is so right. We need to come together with a purpose, an idea, and a conclusion. And we need to take the energy that you have hating towards me, calling me swirlers or whatever hell you're going to call me. I don't care what you call me because you ain't doing nothing but online. You have to be proactive. You can't be reactive emotionally. You have to put yourself on the front line, get on the street, and hold elected officials accountable. Hold the people who have policies, who are skimming. That's what that man did. He skimmed off of that. He knew that money was supposed to stop, but he saved that money in his best interest and put it in his pocketbook like Maxine Waters, who has a $5 million house. That's nothing but skimming. And you guys know these things take place. You know these people are criminals, but yet on the other hand, you do nothing, you act on nothing, you say nothing. No, Q is so correct. He's so right. You have to hold elected officials accountable. Join organizations like me or the organization that was said online, and then say to yourself, I'm part of Urban Game Changers. I want to know what changes are you making in this game you're playing on us. Because that's all they're doing, is playing on us.
Let me ask another question. This term fascist or fascism keeps getting thrown around. Yeah, fascism keeps getting thrown around. Is Trump a fascist? Is he anybody?
I mean, you know, fascism is suspect to the timing. You know, somebody at one period of time can say that FDR was a fascist. You know, they can claim it. You know, but fascism is a nice word to throw around for anybody in a powerful, dictating type of mindset. FDR was like that, but FDR is praised as probably the best president ever. You feel me? So, it just means that you're very dictatorish with your power. But the only reason that you have that power, and this goes along to what we've both been saying, is because somebody rather sit on the keyboard rather than fly out to where Shirley flew out and stand up on video holding people accountable. So the person who's still sitting at home on their laptop, he calls all those people fascists, but he don't want to get involved in no type of way. Amara Cameron in your chat room said Angela Rye is a coon. But see, here we go again. Angela Rye, whether you agree with it or not, she created something for the Democratic side to make some type of movement and hold people accountable. She uses her money from that to try to get on TV and hold public opinion for blackness. Whether you agree with it or not, that's what she's doing. Paris is doing the same thing for Trump. So my point is, it's real safe to call people coons and name call, but like you guys mentioned about BAIO at the end of this live stream with 251 people watching.
And let's get these likes up. We have 251 people watching, only 149 likes. Hit that like button. All right, go ahead.
And share. Please share this video on your Facebook and your social media platforms.
Say that again, Shirley.
I just want them to share. We need to share the video and then have a conversation on your platform with your audience and say, what are these people talking about? What do you think?
True. And well, I'm blocked from live stream. YouTube hates me. But the thing is, to her point, true, share it. You've never heard black conservatives talk black first the way we're talking tonight. You know what I'm saying? So you should be sharing it. Hey, here's some black conservatives, and they talking black first, and they talking family, and they talking this, that, and the third. Okay. I don't have to agree with everything Shirley or Dinah says, and Dinah doesn't have to agree with me, everything I say, but we're having a conversation.
Right.
And it's easy to shoot these conversations down. So when we talk about necessary evils and things like that, I think what we're trying to get, or at least what I'm trying to get people to understand who listen to this, take this time while Trump is focused on immigrants, Republicans, whatever the case may be. Take this time to turn to every last black leader in your county, in your city council, and say, hey, this is what I expect from you in 6 months. Otherwise, I'm going to use this cell phone video and shame you all across the land. My last point, Dinus, Vernon Jones in Decatur, Georgia, right?
Vernon Jones. That ain't Vernon Jones. Yeah.
Well, you can look it up, but I spent $7,000, so about $3,000 and some odd dollars of the first time, and $3,000 when he tried to run for Congress. I put out a web campaign. I used my event company I had in Atlanta, and everybody that was connected to my event company. I spent money to try to make sure that dude never got elected. You know why?
Why?
Because I wanted to put my skin in the game to make sure he never hurt any more black people with the nonsense he did. This is what we got to do, and not sit back and just type on keyboard.
I'm going to cue in. I'm going to come in on Q and say this. He also said, Q, you said that we need to go in front of black politicians with our camera and hold them accountable. Black politicians will tell you this. Look, they said this at the Congressional Black Caucus last year because people said the same thing you are. What are you going to do for black people? They say, first of all, I'm not elected for black people. Maxine Waters' district is 46% Latinos. So she's going to tell you I'm all pro-black nationally. That's what you guys think. But when you look up Maxine Waters' district, then you look up it broken down demographically of who lives in that district, and it's large Latino. So she's going to cater more towards them. In most cases, elected officials cater in their best interest or to who they get pressure from in their district cultural wise. So if you live in a district that is not primarily dominated by African American, or even if the elected official is not Black, you still get your camera in their face and you say, what are you going to do for District 49? What are you going to do for District 28? It's almost like the Hunger Games. Think about the Hunger Games and how they had districts and quadrants that did certain things, and certain people lived better than other people. We as African Americans are not living to our fullest potential or our best life because we allow monies that go utilized, just like in the movie Hunger Games, it went all towards the president. It went all towards the White House. It all went towards those who are elected officials and not towards the district that really, really need the help. Because the county money, like if you live in an area in Los Angeles Black and you live in LA County, there's other areas that are like Beverly Hills that's still part of LA County, and they might ask or want or demand certain things, and that money is not always distributed evenly because there's no accountability to those funds of distribution. So like Q says, if you're going to go in front of a Black elected official accountability, and they're going to say, well, I don't represent just Black people. Say, but what about the betterment for all people? Meaning that, what about the betterment for people in my community, my district? That's who I'm representing right here. And I'm asking you for that. And that's the same thing you do to white people, Latino, Asian, whoever's elected official. Because in California, we're getting these Latinos elected officials. They can barely speak English. And we letting them get away with stuff. We letting them all get away. Y'all should be mad as hell. Instead of throwing rocks at me and Q and dying us on this channel talking to you, you should take that same energy and start picking up your phone and going online after this video and say, let me look this up. Let me see who's running my city. Let me see who's running my district and get their phone number. Demand a lunch with them. Tell them you like to have an audience with them. Take a bunch of elderly senior people from your community to them. Do that. I have done that. Some of you guys are Masons. I've worked with the Masons, the Black Masons here in California, and they've taken a bunch of youth, and we've gone and we sat before city council people, and we asked them, what are you doing about what's going on in deep community areas where they're firebombing us? We did that a couple of years back. We were lone soldiers. We were by ourselves. We need the numbers and the masses to start uniting for a better cause for our people.
Let's see what else we got here in the chat room. Everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us. Q, you'll be able to speak on this, and you too, Shirley. Let's speak on these tariffs. What are your thoughts? I really can't. I really don't know much about them, how they affect us. But the tariffs that Trump imposed on China and other countries, can you unpackage that for us?
All right. So the first prerequisite you got to go do, look up the conversation between Al Gore and Ross Perot when they wanted to create NAFTA. So here's the problem. A lot of younger people never knew the America where it was all about union, and there was the term made in America, and hardly anybody wanted to buy anything from another country because it was anti-American to do so. If somebody saw you in a foreign car that was not a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce or a Jag, they frowned at you. So that's how it was for me growing up as a little kid, seeing that. Everybody was super black, super blackety black, black liquor store, black department stores, black owned, black owned, black owned. White people work there too, but everything is black owned. So how tariffs come into play is that and really you got to look up that argument that Gore had with Ross Perot about tires and even exchange. What was happening is, and I'm gonna say it from a street level, America was the #1 consumer worldwide. So if America's the #1 consumer worldwide, Dynast, and you control America, why do you care about getting extra dollars from Canada? Why are you concerned about getting extra dollars from Thailand? Why are you concerned about that? Here's what Clinton said. Let's get all the money. But then Republicans was like, we don't need to get all the money. We're already winning. If our people, if Dinah's son or Shirley's daughter pays 35 cents for a can of soda, and this is also how inflation works. If they pay 35 cents for a can of soda, and somebody in the Philippines had to pay $15 for that soda and share a sip with their entire community, that's not our problem. But what Clinton said is, come on, man, we have to help everybody. Here comes socialism. Right. So let's take jobs away from Dinah's son and Shirley's daughter, even though they're not born yet. Let's take those jobs away. Even though Dinah's father is making, in 1990, Dinah's father is making $20 an hour at his company, making bicycle tires. Right. And really, it was like that. Like, matter of fact, I'm going to put it on a security guard level. Security guards were making $18 an hour back in 1990. Okay. Compared to now, they make $10 and less in most places. So facts. I say all that to say this about tariffs. Once you understand all that, how it was, Clinton comes along and says, okay, here's NAFTA. We're going to take Dinah's son's job, Shirley's daughter job, and we're going to give it to the people over in India. And the company is going to save a couple of $1 million, but about 400,000 people are going to lose their jobs. But don't worry, right. We're going to get them new jobs. Nobody said these new jobs are actually retail lower jobs, but we're going to get them new jobs. And so you sat up there and give away all this power of the purse, power of the America being the number one buyer. And now the guy in Philippines, he's paying 35 cents for the soda, but now your soda is now damn near $4. It's not $15, but it's $4. But now he gets access to that 35-cent soda. Over 2 decades, 20 years, this was happening. And so now it's so bad that we don't have the unions. The security guard don't make $20, $18. He makes $9 dreaming of $12.
Right. And if you tote, you might get $20 if you tote.
Right. So my point is, it's turned so topsy-turvy the other way against Americans and their children that the only way to equalize it is to threaten tariffs, because really, even when you like, and I encourage anybody to look at the Chinese stock market for the past 2 weeks, they are not doing well. So no matter what they tell you on TV, the tariffs are working because China is not the number one consumer. We are. So it doesn't matter what we do to China, what we do to North Korea, what we do, we can tariff them till the sun come down because they are not the number one consumer. And that's how tariffs work, NAFTA works, and Wall Street works. Whoever consumes the most dictates to the world. That's why tariffs are important.
So I'm going to talk about it from a smaller scale. So I'm going to go back to when I was a little girl. My mom and aunt used to sell clothes downtown Los Angeles in their basement of their home, or they would take a little part of the house and they make one of the bedrooms an area where the ladies could come in and shop, because that's what people used to do back in the day. But what happened was we had chain migration and illegal immigration coming to this country, and they start seeing what we were doing. And they knew that we had access, because this is about tariffs, is about accessibility. They had access to a clothing line. So we took these clothes that we bought downtown because we only had access to wholesale. So you have retail, you have wholesale, then you have direct sale. Direct sale, that means you buy it directly from the source that's making it, okay? The direct source cost is lower, but you have to buy in a larger quantity. You have to buy in a larger quantity. So Black people didn't get that tier. The closest tier that most of us got, and we did have access, some of us did have access, but in most cases, we just had wholesale access. And we usually add on a little bit onto that. So if that dress costs my mom, let's say $10, she might sell it for $15 or $20. So she only gonna maybe double or get half of her money. So she gets double, she gets half of her money, She sells it to the community people, and then we get the money generated within our people. She was able to hire a couple local kids who were Black and keep that money going, teaching them about commodity, teaching them about trades and goods from that level. Then all of a sudden, chain migration came in. The Chinese came in. And they know that they have the warehouses. They control the capital of the construction of making clothes. And they came over to my mother and my aunt's store. And it's a true story. And they looked at their dresses and they said, man, that's a nice dress. I want to buy one. And we don't know. We just say, okay, let them buy it. They buy the dress. They mail it back because they didn't have cell phones taking pictures and all that. They mailed it back, said, can you copy this? Ming Lee said to her cousin, Jojo, can you copy this dress? I have these Black people. They all like to wear this dress. She said, yeah, I can make dress for you. How much can you make him for? I can make him for $4 a dress. Now, remember, the wholesale level we could get it for was at $10. They can make it for $4. She ships it back and she says, oh, I'm going to add $6 and sell it for 10. And then my mother says, hey, I saw that dress over at Min Lee's cousin's shop. I can get it for $10. Well, that's impossible because I bought it wholesale and I paid $10, my sister, so I got to sell it to you for 15. And then we said, no, we're going to go over to Min Lee's shop. And there we have the breakdown of small Black women businesses that tore our communities apart. Look, tariffs have to do with understanding commodities and trades. And other countries are building off of our usability of that because we're a consumer. We consume a lot. The best way that we can really address tariffs to empower Black people is A, the Black hair industry, and B, our clothing industry. Because we are the most fluential in our style and our energy and our look. And when it comes to our hair, instead of Madam J.C. Walker that we talked about before, the first woman who happened to be a millionaire, we have empowered the Korean community to create his and her hair. If any of us remember, his and her hair wasn't nothing but maybe 2,000 square foot building. They end up buying the whole building, and now they hold the whole establishment of the distribution of that. So the distributor is the highest level to the alt level, and that has to do with tariffs and saying to them, hold. We're not going to allow you to capitalize off of America to that capacity. You're not going to be able to pimp us and sell us the leftover goods or the limited amount of goods. We're going to stop that kind of emotion, and we're going to make it fair and even for both of us. Because, see, they don't put nothing to the table. They just take. They take and they charge us so much money and come in with so much money and they charge us more for it. I mean, that's basically what's happening. America has been used under previous administration. I really believe that these elected officials are skimming off of all these tariffs. And that's what's pissing a lot of them off because Trump has come in because he is a businessman. He's not a fascist. He's a capitalist. But he's what I call a pure capitalist. He understands commodities and trades to the utmost degree. What a lot of us who may have never ever dealt with that level of financing can even acquire or understand that. But I will say this. When it comes to trade of steel and goods, especially steel in America, Chinese has us by the balls. And we have to have steel because we have cars, we have computers, we have cell phone, anything made with metal. We're allowing China to be the holder of that. When one time Rockefeller was the one that basically controlled the steel mills. But we have allowed ourselves to be shipped out and shipped in, and now we don't have a control of that. We have to control our own goods and make it in America. And by doing that, I know y'all here is sick and tired of this line, but I'm going to say it. That's what makes America great again. And by doing that, that will help Black communities be great again because we should be able to have businesses and have steel mills and own companies that we can able to have not wholesale, but direct sale over these immigrants or illegals who are making it better than we are.
Hey, before you move to the next question, Dynas, I want to ask you something. Do you feel that I said anything disrespectful about the organization BAIO?
No, absolutely not. I'm a member of the BAIO.
Okay, all right. So with that said, let me make a suggestion to the members that are in the chat room.
It's just us personally. We aren't for I guess, politics here in America. We're more for building our own. But at the same time, I have interest still here in America because I have family here. So
Right.
you know,
I understand. I respect that. But let me make this suggestion, just as a when you have
so
people
with that being said, Q, I wouldn't mind. Okay, me personally, I don't speak for the BIO. I don't mind, mixing it up with local politicians.
No,
So,
I understand. I understand. But for the members that's in the chat room, insulting people who are not insulting you is not a way to make the brand pleasurable to people who are not part of it. So if I'm not disrespecting your brand or your message, saying little slick stuff like step my game up and all this type of stuff, that comes across as, okay, it's a little bit too combative over there, irregardless of the message. I'm not faulting nobody. I'm just making a blanket statement. And my thing is, gentlemen, I understand when you have a system you've created and you want to expound upon that to the masses. The key should be to get more people. And if I say something incorrectly, okay, please.
Adano Ali apologize. Yeah, because we're not about throwing insults.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to share as a businessman, the group should not do that at all.
Right.
You should never try to have your brand name be part of anything that even appears to come across as combative.
Right.
It's not a good look for the group. That's just a suggestion.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do, everybody, we have 262 people watching, 177 likes. We'll go ahead and start closing out. And by all means, take your time, Q and Shirley. So is Donald Trump a necessary evil for the success of Black people?
Closing out? Man, this is getting good.
We'll keep it going. We'll keep it going.
Closing out. Oh, okay, hey, Shirley, pack up your shit. Dias wants his rent, and we late. We need to get out.
All you brown people chiming in, y'all better be sharing. We need to be up to 400 people following us. Look, it's all it's all good. If y'all like us or not, it don't matter. We're gonna still do the do. We're gonna still do the do because we know you programmed, but we're trying to wake you up. All you got to do is walk away. Walk away from them other people that are confusing your mind with no facts and no data and no results. We need to talk solutions. So I want to leave you on this. Donald Trump is the solution because he is the president. So we got to hold people accountable. Grab their balls. Go deep down in. Get a good handful and say, look, I got your balls. I want to know X, Y, Z, A, B, C. We need to start doing that. And we're not doing that. And so before we start attacking each other, that's all they want us to do. We've been doing that since slavery. Black people selling out Black people, talking about Black people. Think about those people who were on those ships who had to sleep every night thinking about the tribes that sold them out and the animosity that stayed within their bloodstream, mad because they didn't do anything to be put on this ship. We're still on this ship. We're still on the ship. Well, hell no, we're not on the ship. We have now become part of the infrastructural blood, dirt, and ground in this country. We built this country. We own this country. And doggone it, we need to take advantage of the rights of this country and hold the current elected officials, the current president of these United States of America, Donald Trump, accountable. We, the people, are to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility for Black people will commence when we start saying, look, Mr. Trump, these are the things that we want. But most of all, Black people need to start holding Black people accountable. All these wealthy Black celebrities telling y'all walk away, but they ain't walking away. They filtrating more ideas, talking about we gotta be a Me Too movement, a liberal progressive movement. These are people who are worth look, what's her name? Whoopi Goldberg. I'm gonna say it again. She worth $45 million. The Smiths are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Even the little nobodies who got TV shows on right now make $200,000-$300,000 a year. Okay, So, and they complain, oh, well, I only get 500,000. Hell, that's more than most of us on this channel. So this is what I'm talking about. Those same black people, Shalimar the God and all them people, they make Wendy Williams. Yeah, I'm gonna call all of them out. They're all making money. They all are pure capitalists. They're at a 1% percentage level, and then they're gonna get on a buffoon and have you doing jigs with hot sauce in your purse and dancing on the table. We need to push all that stupid stuff aside. Take this energy that I'm throwing it back in your face, and you need to go home and do your homework before you come on this channel and talk clowning us when we're trying to tell you the truth. You have to hold elected officials accountable. You need to know your power. You have superhero powers. Utilize those powers. Use this administration. Contact the people. Look, you're going to have a new Supreme Court judge. We need to talk about the RAISE Act. We need to talk about immigrants that are basically working in conjunction with the Catholic Church, doing underground railroad movements against us in our own community. I told you before, buses. They have buses that are white buses with black screens, driving in urban black communities with Chinese people on it, harassing elderly black people, telling them to get out of their homes because they want to take over. These people are migrating in our communities. They disrespect you. They disrespect your elderly, and you're so busy letting us be treated like we did to each other back in the slave trade days, thinking about the one Negro that sold you out. They swirling, they sold out, they sold me and put me on this plantation. They sold out and put me on this boat. Well, doggone it, we've been here 400 years. We're like roaches. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. You ain't gonna take us out like that, boo-boo. You ain't taking us out. So I say stand and fight and hold yourself and hold everything that you want. Donald Trump is not your enemy. Your enemy is yourself. That's who your enemy is. Your enemy is yourself, because you're not conscious. You're not conscious because there's no profit in the cure for elected officials. There's no profit in the cure. ACLU won't make any more money off of black people, but if we bring more poor and impoverished people into this country, then we'll have more reasons to utilize government money to create more governmental programs to help the poor and screw Black America. The people who are paying for the poor aren't the wealthy, it's the middle class. Middle class Americans in California are being hurt right now. The raising of the rents. I was looking at Jasmine on Facebook. She's out here in California. She's a Democrat, and she's a Democrat who's against illegal immigrants. And she was talking about she couldn't find a place to rent under $2,500, $2,000. We got rents going from $300 to $4,500 in LA County. I mean, this is not affecting the rich. This is affecting the middle class poor. Who do you think they're trying to take out? They're trying to suppress us and push them. And yet you say nothing, but you want to continue to attack us, not based on principle, not based on legislation, not based on data, but based on your emotional, how you feel you don't like this man and what he's doing. Screw that. Focus on the fact that if you can use Donald Trump in your best interest, wear the damn hat and make America great again and make your life better by getting some money out of this administration and making your community what it should be.
Hey, look, I think every time we do these, it should be like the title should be Dinah's featuring Dinah's talks with Black conservatives on topic of whatever. All right, okay. Because people need to hear a Black conservative that is not a bailout conversation. I personally think we need to reword this thing, and every time we do it, it needs to be Dinah's presents Black conservative speak or something to let people know conservative speaking. Let me hear what they're talking about. I'm going to give a different view than what Shirley's saying. So mine is a little pushback on what Shirley's saying. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter at all. I'm not a Republican only voter. I'm a conservative. Keep it here. Unions. That's what I'm about. So with that said, here's what Donald Trump, I think, is doing good for Black people. Let me try to swig this up in there. Donald Trump is really giving Black people their aha moment toward other white people. Because the things that Donald Trump does that Black people disagree with in the chat room, This is their power. They can go and say, see, when you was saying something about Obama for his 2.6 trillion, we got 2.8, and you white folks ain't saying nothing. You just shaking your head. When you turn on the TV right now, white folks are just shaking their head because they don't know there's no boogeyman, because the boogeyman looks like them. That's what people got to understand. And that's powerful for Black people to use as a narrative. The problem is, Black people listening, don't let your children forget. That's the key thing. Don't let your children forget. Donald Trump is addressing who Donald Trump needs to address. The people who got money like him, the people who have his skin code. And then other people do benefit. I'm not going to say they don't. Other people do benefit, but they got to have a get money first type mindset also for you to benefit. If you got a get money type mindset first, family thought process like Trump people do, then you're going to benefit. But if you're trying to hold on to the, well, I just want to be me as an independent free thinker, that isn't what's happening right now. And the Supreme Court just justified that. Everything that gay people got is about to be undone.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee, Dynasty.
Yeah.
Without question. And this is my point of understanding. Okay, let me put it this way. Let me put it in a Game of Thrones point of view. Right now, do you know Black people on the Game of Thrones are benefiting more than anybody else in the Game of Thrones series? You know why? Because they're letting those white folks fight while they're on their private island, reinforcing their stuff, doing their thing, and they're in the warmest place in all of Westeros. So this is the point I'm making. Black people have to see whatever it is they don't like that Trump's doing and find ways to excel their children, not themselves, their children. Okay, they over there fighting, or Donald Trump's doing this. Let's go over to this Black person in my county and make sure that my children get to see a judge that fits our ideals. Let's go over here to whatever and make sure that the family court judge, just in case my son get somebody pregnant, fits our demographic. I had somebody in the chat room ask me this: what's my difference for being registered Republican as opposed to registered Democrat? And I say to people all the time, I am not a Republican. I'm just registered as one. And they say, well, why are you registered? Because I get more information from Republican Party than I do Democrat. Democrat only gives me information of what they want me to do on a national stage. These Republicans constantly sending me stuff about judges, who's getting reelected, who's in a runoff, treasurer. I get a lot of stuff about the smallest details of government. And I did not know that stuff existed when I used to be a Democrat. But as a registered Republican, I get all that information. So that's one way that I personally benefit. I get information. So I had this situation, Dinah. I had a Black woman who was running, and I had a Black man who was running for a judge, right, of our county judge. I looked into both Black backgrounds. Everything I'm telling the chat room to do, I looked into both backgrounds. I read up on them. Okay. What I found out was that the Black man was pro-woman. Now, as a Black man, why do I want him? And the Black woman was pro-man. She had all these boys groups that she had been a part of and what have you. Who do you think I voted for, Dinah? Was it the Black man? Or was it the person who was all about helping Black boys? And this is what the chat room needs to understand as far as solutions are concerned. You got to dig into the details, because calling somebody a coon, bed wench, he don't know what he talking about, all that stuff is easy to do. But that Muslim guy up the street, in about 8 years, you're going to have to pray Muslim in your school. Don't be mad. because you had every opportunity while you was online name calling to change that in your county. Oh, you're facing the judge now. And the judge, oh, matter of fact, here's a better example. Police force, parking tickets, all that stuff is revenue based. Do you people know in the chat room, your city does not have to do that? Your city only does that to generate revenue. There's no law or policy to say they have to do that. There was one point in time when I was living out in Atlanta, Diners, they wanted to make that parking 24 hours. Parking enforcement. But it was the people that went down and picketed the reason why Shirley Franklin at that time was not able to make it 24 hours. But see, my point is those people were involved, Diners. Those people were paying attention to what goes on. And a lot of times in the chat room, we're just not paying attention. We're getting happy with name calling. We're getting okay with having 8-hour hangouts and there's no solution. So all this live stream, I've been trying to give you guys actual solutions for you to do. Actual things that you can do come Monday morning. But if we meet here again 6 months from now and the Latin community is still dominating your county and your city, the Korean community is still dominating, or you don't have some type of cultural center / banking institution within your neighborhood that has your ideas, what does the Donald Trump matter? You didn't take your time and energy to create nothing that's anti-coon, anti-bed wench, anti-whatever. When are you going to do that? Oh, we got to wait 4 more years. Okay, so we wait 4 more years. You still ain't produced it, but you've been on YouTube every day, name calling, being disrespectful. Okay, we're gonna wait 8 more years. Now the Latin people are in control.
Impeach and wait. Yeah. What the hell are you waiting for?
Yeah. Now the Latin people are in control, Diners. Now the Muslim people are in control. There's more black homeless, less black people own houses. I mean, Diners, you got a house, I got a house, but I mean, how many people on the chat room can say they do? Yet they be the main ones name calling, the main ones disrespected, the main ones talking about voting don't matter. So I'm not trying to beat you guys up, and I'm not sensitive. I'm just a passionate speaker trying to share with you. Name calling is something you fell in love with. Being upset about Trump is something you fell in love with. But it's 100 and something of you guys on there right now. What are you going to build come 6 months from now?
That's so true. And I would say also, in building that, meaning coming up with solutions. In the city of Inglewood, California, right now, the city council meetings, the school board newspapers have it half English and half Spanish. But yet they're not teaching our Black children how to speak Spanish. And they've also said in the cities in the Inglewood, certain areas, you have to learn to speak Spanish or we're not going to hire you because we have so many immigrants around here. So they're enforcing their culture and their ways. They're conquistadors. They're colonists. They don't think about your best interests. They're making money in America and they're sending it back to their country. And these are things that we need to stop. There's many programs and legislation that's on the table that we agree or disagree under this administration. My question is, as well as Q's, what are you proposing to put on the table? I created Urban Game Changers so that I can look for executive officers, so I can look for people so that we can have events. We had an event a couple of months ago called The Fate of Black America. We did really well. We were in DC and we talked about these issues. And we found out in the city of DC, all the issues that were there were a little bit different than California. So, when you look at certain states and certain regions and certain areas, you've got to think of the poverty and the empowerment of your people. And then you need to approach those areas and find out who are those leaders in those communities.
Wait. I got a problem. Hold on, Shirley. I got a problem. You mean you sellout coon went and took your money and went and had an event to try to help your people? You wait. Hold on. You bedwench. You mean to tell me you went and reserved an event space and got some people together and did something through creating your own stream for people who call you names? And oh my God, stop it.
You know I don't want to have you pass out. I even found a Black conservative Republican restaurant, soul food, that provided free parking, and they all got a $20 meal for free.
Hey, wait. I know somebody in the chat room must be doing better than you, Shirley. Somebody in the chat room must be doing better than you, because there's no way the people in the chat room are going to let you do that much good work for the Black community. It got to be. I don't know, Dinus. I'm lost. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Shirley. I just fell on the floor for a minute.
The video's on YouTube called The Fate of Black America. We had soul food, green jams, dressing. I made sure that the meals were free. I raised the money so that we can have free meals. T. West was one of the speakers. Even those who don't care for Anthony Bryan Logan, the good and bad, he even showed up. Some of his followers showed up. We had 2 Black business owners there. These people added value. When y'all keep talking about I'm a sellout and Anthony's a sellout, he didn't get paid. T. West didn't get paid. I didn't get paid. We didn't get paid to do this. And yet we wanted to address the causes of Black communities. So, that's why I'm hearing y'all talk about each other. You've got good common sense, but you don't utilize it. But I'm trying to prepare and put events on. We're trying to do something at the end of this year for the fate of Black America, with the genocide and non-solutive mindsets that are out there. We have to have solutions. And here you hear Q telling you on a consistent basis. You hear me telling you on a consistent basis that as urban game changers, a conscious awareness of holding these people accountable. These people are coming into our communities and they're colonists. And if we don't unite, we're going to continue to be at war with each other. And this is going to happen nationwide. I'm going to say this too. I've said it before, but those who don't know me in the chat room, we're down to 6% Blacks in California. We have no Black people in California. So if you wonder why some of these brothers are marrying Mexicans and some of these brothers, sisters are marrying these Mexican men or whatever, it's because there ain't no Black men here. And if they are Black, they're bisexuals, metrosexuals, transgender, men that like to suck on men. I mean, you got all that going on out here. The poor brothers, they weak, they ain't got no back, they ain't got no spine, and they raised by their mamas because they incarcerated our Black men. Our family is just torn apart. But yet they are good to bring their little children with them when they working. They're good to have their wife and their girlfriend and to act as a family unit, but they don't want to see us as a unit and they want to think of us as less than. No, yeah, I'm that bed witch that went ahead and put my money on the table, nigga. I put my money on the table and I put something together for my people, for my message to what I'm trying to get out there with Urban Game Changers. What you doing? What you doing other than criticizing me and talking about what I don't do? Shit, I'm from the hood. What you gonna do, who?
Hey, see, this is my point for saying all this, man. We really want Black people, and especially me, to help Black men. We really want us to do well, man. But that doesn't happen from romper room tactics. I personally said there's a couple of things I don't disagree that I don't agree with Dynast on. I don't agree with Shirley on, but we can have those polite conversations about where we do get together and make things happen. I'm a brother in California. I mean, I understand what she's saying because I see a lot of dudes that's falling off or suspect. Most of the dudes I know are married, been married for quite a while, got union jobs and what have you. But there are a lot of dudes that fell off. And I think what's being said is don't be so angry when you watch this video. Don't be so angry in the chat room. If you don't like certain things or certain people, go out and create something. Dynast is going to have a son one day. And everybody in the chat room, and everybody in the chat room Is Dinah's son going to be able to come to you as a manager at your company and get work? Because that's what the Indian guy gets. And that goes to Shirley point. Is Dinah's son going to be able to come to Brian Cole or Villager or no? Because you're not managers, you're just a worker. You're not trying to influence change at your job. You're not trying to make sure Dinah's son gets hired. So therefore, the Indian boy is going to get hired, and the Latin boy is going to get hired, and the white guy is going to get hired.
That's true.
Because they care about bringing their people in. Don't think the Indian Pakistani guy is your supervisor because he really want to be supervisor. He want to pull his people in.
That's it.
He want to make sure one of his cousins get to do the janitor stuff at night or the security.
Yeah.
And because here's the thing, and if anybody looked at my video on the Venus of Tantan, every other group has realized that everything starts in Africa. But what they have decided was, because Black people like to fight each other so much, let's go down and let's create some confusion. Let's agree with the Black folks who are disrespected the most. And let's pit those Black folks against the other Black folks who are always coming out. Then what we'll do is, as they continue to fight each other, as they die off, we'll come in and pick up their land and buy their grandmama's house at cheap price. We don't need to stay in the house because we got family money from Ireland. We got family money from Russia. We got family money from Venezuela. We'll just buy the house. We'll let the house. Say it again.
I said, preach. I'm listening to you. I'm feeling you. Keep going.
We'll just buy the house and let it sit there and pay the taxes on the house. House is still ours. And then as more and more of us do this, all those people who are pulling those Black people down, calling them crabs, once that's done, what we'll do is we'll take the Section 8 away and we'll put the Section 8 out in the middle of the sticks. Then, now that there's no more powerful Black people, because remember, I started this by saying we're going to befriend the powerful Black people, the money makers. Now that there's no more powerful Black people, all that's left is the shit talkers that need Section 8. But we can easily remove them because they don't come down to city council. They don't come down to the county. And guess what? Their son is always talking about voting don't matter anyway. So let's take their Section 8 away, put it all out in the middle of nowhere where ain't no jobs, and you got to drive an hour to get to a job, and we'll take over their property too. Welcome to gentrification. But don't blame the white people, because the Black people fighting each other is what helped cause it.
And with that being said, what we'll do, Shirley, we'll start with you. How can everybody reach you?
There's no profit in the cure, but the profit that needs to be in place is a solution. And the solution, the way that our team have come together, is through Urban Game Changers. It's not about Republican or Democrat. Hell, it's not even about Donald Trump. It's about us being able to communicate, to put our differences aside and stop personal attacks and stop identifying with an ideology that's going to pull us under, and to wake up and to walk away from failure and to move towards an ideology that's going to put money in our pocket and numbers on our table and unite our family. You can find me at urbangamechangers.com. Please make sure you go there. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I like likes. I need more followers. I did an amazing video talking about the homelessness. I'm on the streets. I ain't just online. I'm on the streets. I'm interviewing homeless Black people. I interviewed a woman. She was 67 years old who was pushed out of her community because she couldn't afford the rent. Ain't none of y'all on the street talking to Black homeless people. I've gotten into the faces of politicians. I have gone to the Congressional Black Caucus and interviewed Black ministers who are perpetrating for Christ. I've put my family on the front line, my children on the front line, and I've confronted this Trump administration. So all I ask you to do is to wake up and do everything that Dinus and I and Q are telling you to do, is to look for that solution and to be conscious of other countries that are conquistadors who are following us and conquering our people and trying to push us out of the narrative. Keep in mind, you can follow me, Shirley, Shirley. Last name is Husar. Thank you, Duff, who's been posting to follow my YouTube, and follow me on Facebook and message me. Let's have these conversations. Let's continue these shows, because I believe the change of the game starts with Urban Game Changers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Shirley. And go ahead, Q. How can everybody find you as well?
Well, first of all, I want to say come back for the third installment of Dinah Speaks to Black Conservatives.
Yes,
that'll be coming to you soon. You want to spread this Dinah Talks to Black Conservatives on your Facebook.
Okay.
Because it's not about holding this information to yourself. Dinah is a great host, asks some great questions, and we can make Dinah Talks to Black Conservatives a thing if we keep pushing it. You can find me. I do the Wolf Lifestyle here on YouTube, and the Wolf Lifestyle on Patreon. What the Wolf Lifestyle is, it takes you from complaining about the world to dominating. I'm a former international living guy. I've been quite a few places. So what I try to get Black men to understand is a different way of thinking. I have the $40 counseling session you can get on with the Patreon. I have the $10 subscription. You can get some of my videos talking about everything from business to human resources to your wife to so on and so forth. My whole purpose with the Wolf Lifestyle is for you not to be mad at women and not to be mad at life. There are other things that you could be thinking about. We have about 60 members, and I only started this a month ago. It's been exploding. And out of that 60 members, 58 of those people have doubled their salary. Literally, well, time and a half their salary. I got them on a 30-day plan. I got dudes treating their wives a little better. I got them really understanding how the international mindset should be. And that's what Wolf Lifestyle does. So you can catch me on that Patreon. And like I said, catch me on, thank you, Doug. Doug dropped the link. And,
no problem. Hey, shout out to Doug, the world's
great.
Man,
shout out to Doug for real, man. For real.
You know, can I add one more thing? We are Black owned, Black operated, and Black executed. There's a lot of Black people talking about they conservatives and they're owned by the white plantation. I ain't gonna say their names, but there are Black people who are out there who are being sponsored and supported by organizations that want them to push their narrative. We push our own narratives, and then people sponsor us to push our own narrative. So I would encourage you guys, please support Black conservatives who own their own voice, own their own platform, and are executed about the Black community. See, it's one thing to talk about being a conservative and to be repeating the same news that's out there, but we need to be not reactive, but proactive. And that's what you're hearing from this conversation. We are proactive ownership of Black people. So think about what I'm saying. We're proactive. We're not reacting to all the things going on. We do discuss that, but that's not our primary motive in these discussions. We're trying to move you forward in a mindset of, okay, this is where we're at. This is where we need to be. How do we do that? Thank you, Dinus. I love you. Any good looking ladies? That's a nice piece of chocolate. Dinus. Yum, yum. A yum, yum.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Dinus, you almost blinded me with that smile, man. I mean, golly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Turn the smile down.
Yes, baby. Smile them, show them pretty white teeth. Yes. Cool in the house. Yes.
But anyways, guys.
All right,
thank you. Go ahead.
Let us know when part 3 is, man. Let us know when part 3 is.
Part 3, we ready.
For sure. Next week, maybe we could do it later on this week, but for sure next week we'll definitely get it.
I'm gonna be in Chicago, so it'll probably have to be after Sunday.
Okay, so we'll do it Monday. We'll do it Monday, same time, same place. How about that?
Share the video, you guys. Share the video. Bring discussion and bring your questions back in versus bringing your rhetoric of beating us up. Bring some questions, some solid questions, and hopefully we can answer them for you.
Yeah, but everybody, again, the panel, thank you so much for joining. We really found value in this. Thank you so much. Anytime. So we'll do it next Monday, same time. Everybody, thank you for joining us in the chat. Please go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Make sure you go to searchforuhuru.com, DynastyMirror.com, AfricaPersonified.Africa, and make sure you go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dynasty Mirror. Please buy a book. Until next time, family. Peace.